The CEO laughed. "Translate this, and I'll give you my salary." The young waitress did it in seconds. "Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get into today's story." After Emma rushed out of the restaurant, her mind was racing. She couldn't believe what had just happened. She had sat at the wrong table, embarrassed herself in front of a man she'd never met, and bolted out like a complete fool. As she walked the streets of New York City, her face was still flushed with the shame of the moment. But beneath that, there was a strange sense of curiosity tugging at her. Who was he? And why did the thought of never seeing him again feel so unsettling? She tried to shake it off, but as she walked into her small apartment and collapsed on the couch, the feeling lingered. Emma couldn't believe what she had just heard. Liam Parker, the billionaire CEO, was offering to help her make her dream of opening an art studio a reality. It all felt like a dream. She had spent years struggling to make ends meet, working long hours just to survive. And now, out of nowhere, this man was offering her a chance to change everything. She looked at him, still processing the gravity of his words. "I don't know what to say," she admitted, her voice thick with emotion. "You don't have to say anything," Liam replied with a reassuring smile. "Just take this opportunity seriously, and you'll see where it leads." Emma nodded, still stunned. It was hard to wrap her mind around the idea that someone like Liam, a person with so much power and wealth, would care about helping someone like her. But as she sat there staring at him, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "I promise I will," she said quietly, her eyes meeting his. "I'll work hard. I won't let you down." Liam's expression softened, and he leaned back slightly in his seat. "I know you will," he said, his voice warm and sincere. "That's why I'm offering this. You've got something special, Emma. I can see it. You just need the right resources to make it happen." Emma didn't know how to respond. She had always dreamed of opening her own art studio, but she had never imagined it could be a possibility. She had tried to save up money, but it always seemed out of reach. Now, with Liam's offer, it felt like that dream was finally within her grasp. A part of her still couldn't believe it. She had to remind herself that this was real, that this was happening. As they continued talking, Emma felt a growing sense of excitement mixed with nervousness. She had always worked alone, and the idea of relying on someone else, especially someone with so much power, was both thrilling and terrifying. But she knew this was an opportunity she couldn't let slip away. Over the next few days, Emma and Liam began to work together. He introduced her to some of his contacts in the art world, people who could help her secure the resources she needed to get her studio off the ground. Liam also provided financial backing, offering her a small grant to cover the initial expenses. It was more than Emma could have ever dreamed of, and she felt a mix of gratitude and disbelief. As they met regularly, she began to see just how serious Liam was about helping her. He wasn't just offering financial support, he was genuinely invested in her success. He would listen intently to her ideas, offer advice, and encourage her to take risks. It was more than just business to him, it was personal. "You've got a vision, Emma," Liam said one afternoon as they sat in a cozy cafe, "and that's something that can't be bought. Don't let anyone tell you that your dreams are too big. Keep pushing forward." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of empowerment she had never known before. For the first time in her life, someone believed in her. And not just anyone, Liam Parker, a man who had everything, yet chose to help someone like her. The more they worked together, the more Emma realized that Liam wasn't just a businessman. He had a heart, a deep understanding of what it meant to help others. She had seen him in meetings, interacting with his employees, and it was clear that he valued loyalty and kindness above all else. There was no pretense with him, no ego. He was down to earth and genuine, someone who truly cared about making a difference in the world. As the weeks went by, Emma's art studio began to take shape. She found a small space in a quiet part of the city, a cozy little studio with large windows that let in plenty of natural light. It wasn't much, but it was enough. She had her first art show planned for next month, and the excitement was building. She couldn't wait to see her dream become a reality. One evening, as Emma was packing up her things after a long day at the studio, she received a message from Liam. "I'm proud of you, Emma," it read. "You've worked so hard and I can't wait to see what you do next." Emma smiled to herself, feeling a warmth in her chest. She had come so far, and it was all because of the support Liam had given her. But there was something else she had begun to realize. She had always thought she could only rely on herself, that she had to do everything alone. But with Liam's help, she had learned that it was okay to accept help from others, that it was okay to lean on people who genuinely cared. She was stronger for it, and her future was brighter than ever. As the days passed, Emma continued to build her studio, and with every step, she felt herself growing more confident. She had come so far from the girl who sat at the wrong table at a restaurant, unsure of what the future held. Now, she was building something of her own, something she could be proud of. And through it all, Liam had been there, supporting her every step of the way. Emma wasn't sure what the future held, but for the first time, she felt hopeful. She had the opportunity to chase her dreams, and with Liam by her side, she knew she could make it happen. As Emma's art studio continued to take shape, the excitement was palpable. The walls, once bare and cold, now displayed her work, vibrant, expressive pieces that reflected her journey, her struggles, and her dreams. It was a modest space, but it was hers, and that feeling was everything. The day of her first art show arrived, and she could hardly believe how far she had come. She had spent weeks preparing, working late nights, meticulously setting up the display, making sure everything was perfect. But as the evening approached, nerves crept in. What if no one showed up? What if her work wasn't good enough? She took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm of doubts swirling in her mind. As she stood in front of the studio, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned around and found Liam standing there, wearing a warm smile and a casual suit. "Hey, you okay?" he asked, his eyes gentle, his tone soothing. Emma let out a small laugh, grateful for his presence. "I don't know," she admitted. "I'm nervous. What if no one shows up? What if it's a total flop?" Liam placed a hand on her shoulder, giving her a reassuring squeeze. "It's not about the turnout, Emma," he said, his voice firm but kind. "It's about the fact that you're here. You're doing it. You've already succeeded. Just by showing up, you've already taken the first step toward your dream." His words were exactly what she needed to hear. Emma smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude wash over her. She had come so far, and it was all thanks to him. Liam had helped her believe in herself again, and for that, she would be forever grateful. As the evening wore on, more people began to trickle into the studio, friends, family, and a few strangers. Some were curious about the art, others were there to support her, but it didn't matter. What mattered was that the room was filled with energy, with life, with possibility. Emma moved between the guests, talking about her work, sharing her journey, and soaking in the excitement. She felt more alive than she had in years, and with each compliment and kind word, her confidence grew. By the end of the night, she couldn't help but feel proud. Not just because the show had been a success, but because she had taken a risk, she had pursued her dream, and she had made it happen. And it wasn't just her own success she was celebrating, it was the fact that Liam had believed in her from the very beginning. As the last guests began to leave, Emma found herself standing next to Liam once again. She smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment she had never known before. "Thank you," she said quietly, her voice filled with emotion. "I couldn't have done it without you." Liam looked at her, his expression soft and sincere. "You did all the hard work, Emma," he said, his voice warm. "I just helped you see the possibility." Emma nodded, feeling a rush of gratitude. "Still, I don't think I would have taken that first step without you. You've changed everything for me." Liam smiled, his eyes meeting hers. "I didn't change anything," he said, his voice gentle. "You've always had it in you. You just needed someone to remind you." The two of them stood there in the quiet studio, surrounded by the remnants of a successful evening. Emma realized that she wasn't just building a business. She was building a new life. A life filled with purpose, creativity, and possibility. And as for Liam, he wasn't just a businessman who helped her achieve her dreams. He had become someone she could rely on, someone who had shown her that it was okay to trust others and let them in. Over the following months, Emma's studio continued to thrive. She held more art shows, expanded her network, and even began offering workshops to young artists in the community. It was everything she had hoped for and more. And through it all, Liam remained a steady presence in her life. He supported her, encouraged her, and celebrated her successes. But more than that, he had shown her that the power to create change, to chase dreams, and to build a meaningful life was always within her grasp. One afternoon, as Emma was finishing up a new painting, she received a message from Liam. "I was thinking," it read, "maybe it's time we do something together. There's a project I'm working on, and I think it could be something you'd love to be part of. Let's meet tomorrow and talk about it." Emma couldn't help but smile. Liam had always believed in her potential, and now it seemed like the possibilities were endless. She texted back, "Sounds great. I'll see you tomorrow." As she set her phone down and looked at her latest piece, Emma realized just how far she had come. A year ago, she had been stuck in a dead-end job, unsure of what her future held. Now she was living her dream, building a life she loved, and surrounded by people who believed in her. She didn't know what the future would hold, but one thing was certain: she was ready for whatever came next. The next day, Emma met Liam at a trendy cafe in downtown New York City, just a few blocks away from her studio. She had no idea what he had in mind, but knowing Liam, it was bound to be something big. She walked into the cafe, her heart racing with excitement and curiosity. She spotted him immediately. He was sitting at a table by the window, his laptop open in front of him, but his focus was entirely on her as she approached. "Hey, Emma," Liam greeted her with a smile as she sat down. "I've been thinking about our last conversation, and I think it's time we take things to the next level." Emma raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to hide her excitement. Liam leaned forward slightly, his voice lowering a little. "I've been working on a project that combines art with technology. It's something that could change the way people experience art, and I think you're the perfect person to help make it happen." Emma blinked, trying to process what he was saying. "Wait, are you asking me to partner with you on this project?" "Exactly," Liam said, his smile widening. "I've always been impressed by your vision, and I think we could create something groundbreaking together. Imagine bringing art to life in a way that's never been done before. We could reach so many people, and you would be at the heart of it." Emma felt a rush of adrenaline. She had always been passionate about art, but this was something entirely different. She had never considered combining her love for painting with technology, but the more Liam spoke, the more excited she became. The possibilities seemed endless. "That sounds incredible," she said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "But how would it work?" Liam explained that the project would involve creating digital art installations that allowed viewers to interact with the artwork in real time, using augmented reality and other cutting-edge technologies. It was an idea that was both innovative and ambitious, and Emma's mind was racing with the potential it held. "I can already see it," she said, her eyes sparkling. "We could create art that reacts to the viewer's emotions, something that changes as they engage with it. It would be an entirely new experience for people." Liam nodded, clearly impressed by her ideas. "Exactly, and with your artistic vision and my resources, we can bring this to life. We can create something that will make a real impact." Emma took a deep breath, trying to absorb everything he had just told her. This was the kind of opportunity she had always dreamed of, and now it was in front of her, just waiting to be seized. But there was still a part of her that hesitated. "Liam, this is huge," she said, her voice serious. "I've never done anything like this before. I'm not sure I'm ready for something on this scale." Liam smiled gently, his expression understanding. "I know it's a big leap, Emma," he said, "but you're already doing things you never thought possible. Look at what you've achieved with your art studio. You've come so far, and I believe in you. You're ready for this. We can do it together." His words resonated with her. He was right. She had already taken so many risks, and every step had brought her closer to her dreams. This project wasn't just another opportunity. It was a chance to push herself even further, to do something that would leave a lasting legacy. Emma's hesitation melted away, replaced by a surge of excitement. "Okay, let's do it," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "Let's make it happen." Liam's smile widened, and he reached across the table to shake her hand. "I knew you'd say that," he said with a grin. "We're going to do something amazing." Over the next few months, Emma and Liam worked tirelessly on the project. They traveled to different cities to meet with tech developers, artists, and industry experts. They spent long hours brainstorming ideas, designing prototypes, and testing new technologies. There were moments of doubt, of course times when Emma wondered if they were in over their heads. But with Liam's support and unwavering belief in her, she pushed through those moments and kept moving forward. Slowly but surely, their vision began to take shape. The first digital art installation they created was unveiled at an international art show, and the response was overwhelming. People marveled at how they could interact with the artwork, how it seemed to respond to their movements and emotions. It was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. Emma stood at the center of the exhibit, watching as visitors immersed themselves in the experience she had helped create. She felt a deep sense of pride and fulfillment. This was what she had always dreamed of, combining her passion for art with cutting-edge technology, creating something that could change the way people experienced the world around them. And it was all possible because Liam had believed in her when no one else did. As they stood together, watching the crowd, Emma turned to him and smiled. "We did it," she said softly. "We really did it." Liam smiled back, his eyes filled with pride. "We did," he said, "and this is just the beginning." The future stretched out before them, full of endless possibilities, and Emma knew that whatever came next, she was ready for it. As Emma stood there, watching people interact with the digital art installation, she felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The project that she and Liam had worked so hard on was finally paying off, and the overwhelming response from the audience filled her with pride. This was the breakthrough she had always hoped for, the moment that would mark the beginning of something bigger. The gallery space buzzed with excitement as people explored the interactive art, their eyes wide with amazement. Emma couldn't help but smile as she saw them engage with the artwork, their movements causing the pieces to shift and transform in ways they had never experienced before. She had always believed that art was meant to connect people, to make them feel something deeper, and now, with this groundbreaking technology, she could see that vision come to life in a way she had never imagined. Liam, who had been by her side throughout the journey, stood next to her, watching the reactions of the crowd. He looked at Emma with pride, a small smile playing at the corners of his lips. "You did it," he said quietly, his voice full of admiration. Emma shook her head, still in awe of the whole experience. "We did it," she corrected him, her voice filled with emotion. "I couldn't have done this without you." Liam chuckled softly, his eyes reflecting the same sense of fulfillment that Emma felt. "I just helped you see the possibilities. You're the one who brought this vision to life." Emma felt a rush of gratitude wash over her. She had come so far from the girl who had doubted herself, who had struggled to make ends meet. Now, she was at the forefront of an art revolution, creating experiences that connected people to art in ways they had never thought possible. She was doing what she loved, and it felt like everything was finally falling into place. As the night continued, Emma and Liam received praise from industry experts and tech enthusiasts who were excited about the future of their project. They were approached by several investors who wanted to help expand the idea further, to bring this new form of art to even more people around the world. Emma listened to their offers, her heart racing with the possibility of what was to come. She knew that the future held endless opportunities, and she was ready to seize them. Liam, ever the strategist, was already discussing the next steps for their growing venture. "We have the potential to turn this into something global," he said, his tone focused and determined. "We just need to scale up, invest in more technology, and start working with more artists to create even more immersive experiences." Emma nodded, her mind already spinning with ideas for the future. She had always been a dreamer, but now she had the resources and the support to turn those dreams into reality. With Liam by her side, she knew that there was no limit to what they could achieve. The next few months flew by in a whirlwind of meetings, new partnerships, and growing recognition. Emma continued to push the boundaries of what was possible with her art, experimenting with new technologies and collaborating with other artists to create even more innovative experiences. The installations became more sophisticated, more dynamic, and the audience's response was always overwhelmingly positive. As their success grew, so did their bond. What had started as a professional partnership between Emma and Liam slowly began to evolve into something more. Late one evening, after a particularly successful art show, Liam invited Emma to his penthouse to discuss their next big project. As they sat together, the conversation drifted from business to personal matters. "You know," Liam said, his voice soft, "I never imagined that meeting you that night at the restaurant would lead to all of this." Emma smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "Neither did I," she said, her voice quiet, "but I'm glad it did." The silence between them felt different now, more comfortable, more intimate. They had been through so much together, navigating the highs and lows of their journey, and Emma realized that, in many ways, they had become each other's support system. As the evening wore on, Liam took a deep breath, his expression serious. "Emma, there's something I've been meaning to say," he began, his gaze fixed on hers. I think we've built something incredible together, but I also want to tell you that you've become so much more than a partner to me." Emma's heart skipped a beat, and she felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam reached across the table, gently taking her hand in his. "I mean that I care about you," he said, his voice full of sincerity. "More than just as a business partner. I've realized that somewhere along the way, I've fallen for you." Emma felt her breath catch in her throat, the words sinking in. For a moment, she couldn't speak. She had never imagined that Liam, the successful, driven man who had changed her life, would feel the same way about her. But as she looked into his eyes, she saw the truth there. He wasn't just the man who had helped her achieve her dreams. He was someone she had come to care deeply for. With a soft smile, Emma squeezed his hand. "I think I've fallen for you too," she whispered, her heart racing. The moment felt like a turning point, not just in their professional lives, but in their personal connection as well. They had both been through so much, and now, as they looked ahead to the future, Emma realized that they were ready to face whatever came next together. As the days passed after their conversation, Emma and Liam found themselves spending more time together, not just working side by side on their project, but growing closer in ways neither of them had expected. Their partnership had always been rooted in mutual respect and admiration for each other's talents. But now, it felt like something more, something deeper. They continued to work on their innovative art installations, pushing boundaries and creating experiences that captivated audiences everywhere they went. Their vision had taken off, and their collaboration had blossomed into something extraordinary. But with every success, Emma couldn't help but feel the weight of what Liam had said, that he had fallen for her. And as much as she cared for him, she felt a flutter of uncertainty. Could she really allow herself to be vulnerable with someone who had so much power and influence? Was she just another part of his business empire? Or did he truly see her for who she was, beyond the artist and the entrepreneur? She couldn't shake the questions, and every time she saw Liam, the sense of wonder mixed with doubt filled her chest. She decided to talk to him, to get clarity, not just for herself, but for the future of their relationship. One afternoon, as they were wrapping up another successful event, Emma sat down with Liam in their favorite cafe, the same place where they had first discussed their project together. The dim lights and cozy ambiance had always provided a sense of calm, but today, Emma felt anything but calm. She took a deep breath before looking at Liam. "Liam, can we talk?" she asked, her voice soft but serious. Liam glanced up, sensing the change in her tone. "Of course," he said, his brow furrowing slightly in concern. "What's on your mind?" Emma hesitated for a moment, trying to find the right words. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said the other night," she began, her eyes meeting his. "About falling for me." She paused, unsure how to continue. "I just don't know if I can handle that, Liam. I mean, I care about you too, but we've been working so closely together, and I guess I'm scared." Liam's expression softened as he listened to her words. He reached out, gently taking her hand in his, and she could feel the warmth of his touch, calming her nerves. "I understand your fear," he said quietly, "but I want you to know that I'm not just saying those things because of what we're building together. I care about you, Emma, in a way that goes beyond business. I admire everything about you, the way you see the world, the passion you put into your work, and the person you are." He paused, squeezing her hand gently. "I'm not asking for you to dive in without thinking. I just want you to know that I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not just interested in the project we're working on. I'm interested in times us asterisk." Emma felt a knot in her stomach loosen. His words were what she had needed to hear, but they also made her realize how much she had been holding back. She had been so focused on the practicalities of their work, so consumed with the excitement of their success, that she had ignored the growing feelings between them. Slowly, she began to open up. "I guess I've been scared of being hurt," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've worked so hard to build something on my own, and I'm afraid that if I let myself be vulnerable with you, everything could fall apart." Liam's eyes softened as he listened, his expression filled with understanding. "I'm not going to hurt you, Emma," he said gently. "I know what it's like to be afraid of letting someone in, but you're not alone in this. I'm here for you no matter what happens." Emma looked at him, her heart swelling with emotion. She had always prided herself on being independent, on doing things on her own, but now, with Liam's unwavering support, she saw that there was strength in letting someone in sharing her life with someone who truly cared. She took a deep breath and smiled. "I want to try," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. "I want to see where this can go, but I need to know that we can keep our work and our relationship separate when we need to." Liam smiled, a look of relief and happiness spreading across his face. "Of course," he said, his voice warm. "I want that too. We'll always have our work, but I also want us to have something more." As they sat there, hand in hand, Emma felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in a long time. She had finally opened up, and in doing so, she realized that their connection wasn't just about business. It was about something real, something deep. And with that realization came the understanding that she was ready to take the next step with Liam, not just as a business partner, but as someone she could trust with her heart. The future was uncertain, as it always is, but for the first time, Emma felt ready to embrace it, knowing that she wasn't alone. Together, they had already accomplished so much, and she had a feeling that this was only the beginning. As Emma and Liam continued to work together, they found themselves growing even closer, not just professionally, but personally. Their relationship had shifted from being two people who shared a passion for art and innovation into something much more meaningful. The lines between work and personal life began to blur, but in the best way possible. They had found a balance, supporting each other both in their careers and in their growing bond. Emma's art studio had become a hub of creativity and innovation, and now it was on the brink of expanding into new horizons. They had begun to receive invitations to showcase their work at some of the most prestigious art galleries around the world, and every day they were faced with new opportunities and challenges. The pressure was mounting, but it was a pressure they shared. They were in this together. One afternoon, as they were brainstorming ideas for their next big installation, Liam looked at Emma with a serious expression. "I think it's time we take the next big step," he said, his voice calm but determined. Emma paused, sensing the weight of his words. "What do you mean?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "I've been thinking about this for a while," Liam began, leaning back in his chair. "We've built something incredible with the art and technology fusion, but we need to take it to a global scale. We can't just stop here. We have the potential to change the way people experience art, and I think it's time we make that happen." Emma's heart skipped a beat. She had always dreamed of her art reaching people across the world, but the idea of taking their work global seemed both thrilling and overwhelming. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked, her voice filled with a mix of excitement and doubt. Liam smiled warmly, his eyes full of confidence. "I know we are," he said, his tone unwavering. "And I think you're the perfect person to lead this next chapter." Emma felt a surge of emotions. The weight of the decision was immense, but so was the opportunity. She had worked hard to get to this point, and now it was time to push forward, to take that leap of faith. She nodded slowly, her mind racing with possibilities. "Okay," she said finally, her voice steady. "Let's do it." Over the next few months, Emma and Liam worked tirelessly to make their vision a reality. They traveled to major cities around the world, meeting with investors, curators, and tech developers. They forged partnerships with some of the most innovative minds in both the art and technology industries, and slowly, their dream of creating a global art movement began to take shape. There were moments of doubt, of course. Moments when Emma questioned whether they were moving too fast, whether they were prepared for what lay ahead. But each time, Liam was there to reassure her, reminding her that they had already achieved so much together. "You've got this," he would say, his voice calm and supportive. "We've got this." The day they finally unveiled their first international exhibition was a moment neither of them would ever forget. The gallery was filled with art lovers, tech enthusiasts, and critics from all over the world, all eager to see what Emma and Liam had created. The interactive installations were even more advanced than the ones they had debuted in New York, incorporating virtual reality and immersive environments that allowed viewers to experience the art in ways they had never imagined. Emma stood at the center of the exhibit, watching as people interacted with the pieces, their faces lighting up with wonder and amazement. This was the moment she had dreamed of, the culmination of all her hard work, and it was even more incredible than she had imagined. As the night wore on, Emma and Liam took a moment to step outside and take in the view of the city skyline. They stood in silence for a moment, letting the enormity of what they had accomplished sink in. "We did it," Emma said quietly, her voice full of awe. Liam turned to her, his eyes filled with pride. "We did," he replied, his voice filled with emotion. "And this is just the beginning." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. She had come so far, from a waitress with a dream to an artist whose work was being seen and appreciated by the world. And through it all, Liam had been there by her side, supporting her, believing in her, and encouraging her to push beyond her limits. Their journey together had only just begun, and Emma knew that, with Liam by her side, there was no limit to what they could achieve. The future was bright, full of endless possibilities, and she was ready to embrace it all. Months passed, and Emma and Liam's global art initiative continued to grow at an extraordinary pace. The exhibitions in major cities like Paris, Tokyo, and London were a huge success, drawing crowds from all over the world, eager to experience the art in ways they never thought possible. What started as a small idea between two passionate creators had turned into a worldwide movement that was changing the landscape of art itself. They had successfully merged technology and art in a way that no one had ever done before, creating interactive experiences that were as much about the audience as they were about the artwork itself. With each new project, they pushed the boundaries of what was possible, and with every milestone, their bond grew stronger. But even with all the success, there were still moments when Emma found herself reflecting on how much her life had changed. Just a year ago, she was struggling to make ends meet, uncertain about her future, and now she was running an international art initiative, living her dream. She had come so far, and it was all because she had taken a leap of faith, trusting in herself and in Liam. One evening, after a particularly successful exhibition in Berlin, Emma and Liam found themselves walking through the quiet streets of the city, the soft glow of streetlights illuminating the path ahead. They had just wrapped up a meeting with investors who were eager to help take their vision even further, but despite all the excitement and the offers pouring in, Emma felt a sense of peace she hadn't known before. "You know," Emma said, breaking the comfortable silence, "I still can't believe how much has changed." Liam glanced at her, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "I can. I always knew you had this in you." Emma looked at him, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I don't think I would have made it this far without you. You believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself." Liam reached out, gently taking her hand in his. "And you believed in yourself when it mattered most. That's what made all the difference." Emma squeezed his hand, feeling the warmth of his words settle in her chest. They had come so far together, and now, looking back, it seemed almost impossible that everything had started with a simple mistake sitting at the wrong table in a restaurant. It felt like fate, like the universe had conspired to bring them together, to help them create something that would leave a lasting legacy. As they continued walking, Emma thought about the future, about what was to come for her, for Liam, and for the art they were creating together. There was so much more to do, so many more people to reach, so many more experiences to create. But no matter what came next, Emma knew one thing for sure: she wasn't doing it alone. She had Liam by her side, and that made all the difference. They stopped for a moment at a park bench, the quiet of the night enveloping them. Liam turned to Emma, his eyes filled with warmth. "I have something I want to ask you," he said, his voice low. Emma looked at him, her curiosity piqued. "What is it?" Liam took a deep breath, his heart beating a little faster. "I've been thinking about this for a while, and I know we've been through so much together, but I can't imagine my life without you in it." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box, holding it out to her. "Emma, will you marry me?" Emma's breath caught in her throat as she looked at the ring, then at Liam. She had never expected this, but in that moment, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. She had fallen for him, not just as a partner in business, but as someone she truly loved, someone who had stood by her through thick and thin, and who had always believed in her. She smiled through the tears that welled in her eyes, her heart racing. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I will." Liam's face broke into a huge grin as he slipped the ring onto her finger. He pulled her into his arms, holding her close as they both laughed, the weight of the moment sinking in. They had built something incredible together, and now they were taking their partnership to the next level. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, Emma realized that everything she had ever dreamed of had come true. She had found success, yes, but more importantly, she had found love. A love that had transformed her life in ways she could never have imagined. The future was bright, and with Liam by her side, she knew that whatever came next, they would face it together. And that was the greatest adventure of all.